Welcome into the show, guys. Welcome in. Huge show today. Huge show. Cannot emphasize this is a good show. I feel really good about it. Yes, it might be a bit shorter than usual, but very excited. Week 12 of college football predictions. We have a new lead of the college football playoff committee. Stuff going on with Brian Kelly and the lawsuit of him at Florida State, LSU. We also have Bill's Bucs prediction later in the show. But yeah, how about this? Happy Thursday. Normal show as usual. Not the pre-recorded stuff we did on Tuesday night or Monday night, Tuesday morning. That's when the show came out. Or excuse me, right around noon. But we're back. Normal time as usual. And hopefully that will be the last time for a little bit that we will have a awkward schedule. I think the next time is going to have to be probably Thanksgiving. But that doesn't matter. We're live right now, and that's all that matters on YouTube. For Verticals Podcast. Again, episode 144, high atop a beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, as per usual. High atop beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. We've thawed out, okay? We are no longer cold temperatures. We are back into the low to mid 70s, 80s this weekend. A beautiful Chamber of Commerce weekend. But yeah, just great day here in Jacksonville, and a huge show for you guys. A lot of things to discuss. Might be a shorter show, but that doesn't mean we have a lot of things to talk about. There's definitely not going to be a lot of things that we need to discuss as I move my water bottle here. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That's all I'm asking. Prayer hands, ECM, prayer hands on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Please do. I know a lot of folks are watching the show more now. I need you guys to do it. Subscribe to the channel. Do it, okay? Like, I know the most of you who are watching this are not subscribed. Make sure you check you are. Because I know there's more than 90 of you that watch the show. I have the analytics. I have all the data. I have all the models and things like that. I know there's way more of you who watch this show that are not subscribed. Do it, okay? We talk college football. When there's news to be had, we talk Marvel and Star Wars. But this is, at least around this time of the year, it's college football, okay? I know we have Marvel stuff coming up, like the Avengers Doomsday trailer coming out in December. I get that. But that's for future shows to cover. We're sticking with college football right now, at least for this show. And we'll also talk about the Buccaneers as well as a Bucs fan. Even as bad as things can be right now for Tampa. So just be sure to subscribe to the channel and support us when you can, because it helps us out a lot. And again, we are not the oldest show on YouTube, college football show, but we're one of the newer ones, right? We've only been around for a year. So be sure to do all that. Instagram, X, Twitter, podcast feed. Just do it, okay? Click all those. We should have all those in the channel description. I believe they should always be there. So be sure to do all those. And that's all we're asking. Again, that's all we're asking. This show is completely free of charge. So don't have to worry about paying us to watch the show. If we did do that, then I wouldn't be doing the show. So we're also independent media too, by the way. So don't have to worry about some like corporate overlord controlling the show. All right. Let's go and actually get into the topics here. We have a shorter show today, but I feel pretty good about today's show. I don't know. Just something about today's show I'm very excited about. But as we always do, doing a little Josh Pate trivia paper pop, we have upset alerts to go over. A lot of upset alerts to go over. The upset alert meter is elevated more than it probably has been in a while. So let's go into it. So on Friday night, I believe we have two big games on Friday night. Two of them, okay? One's on ESPN, the other one's on Fox. The first one to discuss here, Minnesota going to Oregon, okay? They play this Friday. Let me check the FanDuel line here. I believe it is Oregon minus 6.5. Well, no, that's future games. That's next week, not this week. Okay, yeah. So the line on this Minnesota game is 25.5 for Oregon. They're the favorite. It's at home. It's at Alton Stadium. It's a short week for Oregon. They're coming off of a very crazy game against Iowa. They're still trying to thaw out probably. Now they're rewarded with a shorter week facing Minnesota, who was yet again one of these physical legacy Big Ten teams. I respect Dane Lanning. I respect him, okay? I respect him for wearing a cotton shirt and just demoralizing conditions in the rain. I respect him. I respect this team. I respect their willpower to win games. But I also respect Minnesota and PJ Fleck, too. Well, they can show up and play, too. They're a physical team. I know they're not the Minnesota teams of 2019 or maybe a couple years ago when they won 9 games. I get all of that, okay? But it's still, like Iowa, one of those legacy Big Ten teams that are always physical, run the football, ball control, time control, game control. They want to shorten the game and not make it longer than it should be. something tells me in this game, and the way that I feel like this weekend could go, this game could be more closer than people think. That 25.5 number seems a big high to me. Now, granted, Minnesota, maybe they don't have the pieces or not to necessarily play with Oregon. May not be able to block them as much. But I respect PJ Fleck, man. Like, that is a coach. You cannot just overall just fly past. You cannot. Same with Iowa. Same with those teams, and I guess in the SEC. In the SEC, that would be like your Floridas, your South Carolinas, your Kentuckys, where maybe it used to be. It's the classic pickup game, take the checks, take the losses. Not anymore. And I wonder if Minnesota and some of these mid-ish Big Ten teams, how do they stack up versus the big boys? And we've already seen it a little bit when they played Ohio State. So again, I know this is a gamble here. I'm not betting in these games personally, but according to what I have written down here, we have this in the yellow category. Just be careful. Again, a short rest. You're playing yet another physical team that's typically pretty physical. Just be careful if you're Oregon, okay? I think they won the game still, but don't be surprised if it's a little more closer than that 25.5. So, also on that Friday, Louisville hosting Clemson. And I believe Louisville, check FanDuel again, they are favored to win the game. So the first time in a long time, Louisville is favored to beat Clemson. Is Clemson and Dabo Swinney going to really let this happen? Are they really going to be threatened to not make a bowl game this year? I don't think so. I think a lot of folks, and they can check Clemson's record here off the top of my head. See your Clemson football 2025. I believe they were 5 or 4 wins, I believe. 5 wins, 4 wins. If I'm not mistaken. Somebody wanted. Here we go. Yeah, they were 4 and 5. They have 3 more games left to where if they win all 3 of them, which they can easily do, or not easily, but they can possibly do. They can finish strong here, go 7 and 5. So that would keep their bull streak alive. I know a lot of folks are down on Clemson. I know a lot of folks are, being negative Nelson's about Dabo Swinney, saying he's a trash coach, he's going to be fired. First of all, he's not going anywhere. Like this is not anything like what happened at LSU, what happened at Auburn, what happened with Florida and Billy Napier. Okay, Dabo Swinney is fine. He's okay in terms of his job security. Now his team might not be fine. His team might be in some shambles right now. It's not, the vibe's not good over there right now. Nor is that Louisville. Okay, they just came off a huge loss. Everyone's mad. You're at home. It's a Friday night game. The vibes are kind of weird. The ACC is kind of on life support. I think for Louisville, the key to this is just to let your offense operate normally. Okay, because Clemson defensively can be had on, and I think they can in Louisville hit some of those nuclear plays. Or we talked about this with Bama and Oklahoma the other night. They can hit the nuclear plays, the big 20-plus yard plays. I think they have the capability to do that. Clemson has had a bad rap of giving up a lot of those nuclear plays this year. Don't ask me. Go watch the SMU and Duke games, okay? I'm really torn on this game. I know we're not picking it in a normal sense, but I'm very much so torn on this game. Because I also know Clemson can, when they want to, they can show up and actually play to their standards, right? North Carolina, the Boston College game, and Florida State. And all those games, the 3 games they've won in this stretch of games, in this, 5 stretch of games. I know there was a bye week in between, but in this 5 stretch of games, all of their wins, they've only given up 30 combined points, 10 each, in those 3 wins. So I have this in the red category for Louisville. They could lose this game. Clemson, I don't think Clemson and Dabo Swinney, I know I've said before I felt like the culture was starting to get rotten a little bit because of how the season has gone. That might be true, but it's not totally gone. Like, their spirits are not totally broken, okay? Like, this is still Dabo Swinney and Clemson. Yes, it's not the Clemson team like 10, 15 years ago. Maybe not that long, maybe like 5 years ago. But I have this in the red category. I have not given up on Dabo Swinney. They can pull this off. They can do it, okay? It's not no they can versus yes they can. So I think they can do it. Louisville, I know there's a lot of stuff about Jeff Brom and his future, not because he's getting fired or anything. Fixing the microphone here on YouTube. It's not because he's getting fired or anything. It's just, I don't know. I mean, his future there, will he or won't he leave for a bigger job? Remains to be seen. Next up here, now we're getting to the Saturday games here. Michigan and Northwestern. A lot of you probably don't know this game's going on. It is going on. Maybe think to yourself, okay, so is it being played at that practice field over there with Northwestern? It is not. They have officially retired it. It is no longer, you will no longer see Northwestern playing football games. You may see them play a practice game there or do a practice, but they will not be playing actual football games on that practice field on Lake Michigan. It is closed down. It is no longer being used. The next year will be the new stadium. So they're playing at Wrigley Field because baseball season is over, right? Seems natural to play football games at a baseball field. Seems natural. Now, the line on this game, maybe guessing yourself, what is it? Is it Michigan minus 30, minus 50? They're only minus 11. And Northwestern, I believe they need one more game to get bowl eligible. Let me check here. Double, triple check. We'll see here. Get to their schedule. Or at least I can look at the record. Yeah, they're 5-4. So they only need like two. They only have 3 or so chances left to get to a bowl game. They can easily do so, right? There is a possibility they can definitely do that. They have Michigan, Minnesota, and Illinois. One of them is a rivalry game, or one of them is not a rivalry. The 2 others are. This is a desperate team, okay, with Northwestern. They're very desperate. Very, very much so desperate to get to a bowl game. David Braum, 3rd season there. I know things did not look good last year, and they didn't. But I know for sure they're no nihilist over there at Northwestern. It's a smart school. They can figure it out. I think they can, but I don't know if it's going to be against you, Michigan, because I know Michigan, from at least what I have seen, their team that is sort of kind of in a weird situation. Their record looks good. Okay, they're 7-2. They'll have 1 loss, by the way, in conference, so they are in play for the Big Ten championship game. And if you want total chaos, they continue to win, and they beat Ohio State at home to get them to 1 loss. There is a scenario, the very minor scenario, to where Michigan, not Ohio State, could be playing in Indianapolis yet again. Like, here we go again. Ryan Day and his team and his program not going to Indianapolis again. Like, they haven't been there since 2020. It's been a very long time. They've had a lot of good teams since then that did not have the opportunity to go did not have the opportunity to go to Indianapolis. So I think it is in Michigan's best interest to continue to win, to keep that dream alive that they can get there and ruin Ohio State season. Because if they do that, it'll be, I think, them and Indiana would be in Indianapolis for the Big Ten title game. So if you're Michigan, you need to continue to win here. But the problem is with Michigan, I'm not saying they're a total fool's gold or they're not a paper tiger. But to me, of Michigan, it's a lot of, okay, you beat Washington at home. Great. Solid win. Michigan State, a little closer than you wanted it to. That Michigan State team is really horrible. There could be a coaching change there. And then came Purdue before the bye week happened. 21-16. I guarantee you no one watched that game. I think I did a little bit. But I was one of those people. Most of us did not watch that game. It seemed like, I believe at one point, wasn't Purdue winning at some point? Yeah, they were, I think they had the lead at some point. So it has not necessarily been, since the USC game, clean sailing. Like, they have, in a lot of time, in a lot of ways, struggled. So it is in their best interest for Michigan, or at least for their fans and the program, obviously, to continue to win and have a chance to go to Indianapolis and beat Ohio State. But on the flip side, again, for Northwestern, they need this to go to a bowl game, at least secure their spot to go to a bowl game. So it's a weird spot, Super Bowl spot for Northwestern, or for Michigan. You have the Ohio State game on deck. It's kind of at this point in the season. We've seen this happen a couple of times where it's kind of, okay, let's, try to fast forward to the Ohio State game, like you're a zombie. And then you all of a sudden, I think Ohio State ran into this a couple years ago when they had Urban Meyer as their coach in his final year, where they almost lost to Maryland. Same thing could happen here to Michigan. One of these next 2 games, actually, I did have in Michigan a couple years ago too. Almost lost to Maryland. This could happen, okay? Like, they could easily be a zombie Michigan team because they're all focused on that Ohio State game at home in a couple weeks. And by the way, they're on the road the next 2 weeks. So they are not going to be in Ann Arbor until Thanksgiving weekend. So it's going to be a while until they come back. So these are 2 games, if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm a little bit worried about. Because of all that, I do have this game in the red category. Again, because it is a Super Bowl for Northwestern, it's one of their opportunities to get to a bowl game, get a huge win, another major win under their cap. This could happen. So it's in the red category. So this could definitely happen. Again, now if you're new here with the upset alerts, how we do them, we usually do the color method instead of the numbers and stuff. So instead of, for example, doing like a scale 1 to 10, we do like the traffic light colors, right? So green means we're watching it, but unlikely. Yellow could happen. Red means if we can upset, it could definitely happen. So that one's in the red category. And this next one, Wisconsin at Indiana. Talked about this last week, and this is why we had the Penn State game on here, right? I think a lot of folks thought, oh, Penn State's not beating Indiana. Okay, all right, almost did. Took a crazy catch, the play of the year probably of all football, including the NFL, for that to happen, for Indiana to win that game. Now they come back home, friendly confines of Bloomington. They play Wisconsin, who just beat Washington. So there are, yes, they're not going to a bowl game, but it is, again, much like what I said last week. And actually, they could still get to a bowl game. Actually, they're not totally dead, and they just need to be Illinois, and Minnesota to get that. So they're not actually, believe it or not, Minnesota or Wisconsin's not dead yet for a bowl game. Like that win over Washington can have sneakily a big deal. It's unlikely. It's more likely they finish 3-9. They could finish 6-6. It's not impossible. Okay, prayer hands for Wisconsin. I mean, maybe you guys can do it. We're hoping, we're praying for you guys, and nothing's happening to you. Just or to the school, but just I am praying that you guys can make it to a bowl game, because that'll be pretty awesome. That with Luke Fickell getting a new lease on life, maybe all of a sudden they're like a zombie. Right, here comes the hand, crawling and clawing on the ground, and they get to a bowl game. Not impossible, or not possible, not likely, but not impossible either. But it's on the road for you guys. It's at home. But like I said about Indiana and Penn State and a lot of these teams, the newcomers to the playoff pool, November is a long month. Okay, it is a very, very long month. You still have this week and next week and the week after until you get to the postseason. Okay, so it's a long ways to go here still. This is like 20-plus days. It's a long month, and it wouldn't surprise me if you continue to see these teams claw and scratch their way, winning by any means necessary to have either one loss or undefeated. That's where Indiana is right now. They just need to continue to win. May not look pretty, but all these teams going forward here for Indiana, go back to their schedule here, and I believe actually a lot of these teams are also trying to get to a bowl game too. Now, some of them may not, or less likely than others, but Wisconsin's one of those teams, and they're a desperate team. So them, and then you're off, I believe, next week after this game. So you have a bye week, kind of one of those late bye weeks, and you have Purdue. So you'll be sort of rested going into, I would assume, Indianapolis. You win this week, you're going there. You'll be locked in. So, Wisconsin may be the last test. Now, Purdue is interesting. It's on the road. It's, I believe, another Friday game, or Thursday. It's on Friday, Black Friday. So those two games, even though their records may not be good, they're going to be tests for you. They're going to test your mentality. They're going to test your willingness to win. Penn State did it last week. I guarantee you those two teams, Wisconsin and Purdue, one of them being your big rivals in state, we'll look at that Penn State game and say, so Penn State was able to travel, was able to compete with you guys, and they should be checked out. Why not we? So we're watching that Wisconsin game. It's in the yellow category, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, it's in the yellow category, or it's in the green. Excuse me, it's in the green. It's in the green category, but we are watching it very closely because, again, I have a sneaking suspicion a lot of these teams are not used to playing this high level of football all the way in November. That's where the landmine situations could come into play. So this one we're watching, it's in the green category. Upset probably won't happen. Next one here. This one's, again, a classic situation of a ranked team not being favored. Virginia at Duke. Who do you think's favored? Most of you are probably thinking Virginia. You're wrong on that. According to FanDuel, looking at this game, again, just a disclaimer, FanDuel is not a friend of the show. We use them for research purposes. Let's see here. Let me look up the line here. Duke football on FanDuel. Yeah, so Duke is the favorite, not the ranked team. Again, a classic example of just because you're a ranked team doesn't mean you're always going to be favored. You are not. In some cases, a unranked team will be favored over you. It makes sense to me because if you follow college football and how the markets work, this can happen. And believe it or not, I think a lot of folks are now touching on this now more than they have previously, that Duke's still alive for the ACC championship game. Even though they lost to UConn last week, they are still alive for the ACC championship. They have one loss in conference. I don't remember who that was to necessarily off the top of my head, but they only have one loss in conference. Okay, so they are still, all their goals of getting to Charlotte are still alive, which is bad for the ACC because if Duke were to win the ACC is out of the playoff. I do not believe, in my heart of hearts, that a 4-loss ACC team will be in the playoff. I guarantee you the playoff committee will not let that happen. I firmly believe it's an unwritten rule. It's not going to happen. 3-loss to Duke? Yeah, maybe. They would have won last week, but they're not. But Duke, this is a Super Bowl spot for them. This is a chance to keep their hopes alive. Again, they only have one loss in conference. So this is a desperation mode. went into Blue Devil mode. Virginia, coming off of a loss to, I believe, Wake Forest, I believe, was a weird game. I know, I know we were talking about Virginia being on borrowed time for a while, and it finally expired. This one's in the red category, or yeah, it's in the red category in terms of the ranked team going down. I think Duke's going to do this. They're going to pull it off somehow, some way. They are going to win this game. They're the favorite. I think Virginia is not barbecue chicken, but I think they kind of are. I just feel like that team was on borrowed time. They were benefiting off of crappy ACC teams. This team in Duke with Manny Diaz and this staff there, like, give them credit too. Like, they lost last week, but to only have one loss in the ACC and have 4 losses is just the definition of insanity. And credit to all of them for getting to this point. So I'm taking Duke to win. I think Virginia is going down as a ranked team. I know this will be confusing to a lot of folks who don't follow sports betting, but trust me, it makes sense to me. It should make sense to you if you follow college ball a long time. So yeah, in terms of how desperate Duke is to get to the ACC championship game for the first time in about a decade or so, they will take any opportunity to do so. Believe me, I'm not. Obviously, I don't know Manny Diaz and that staff there, but that guy's a hell of a coach. I know a lot of folks blame him for what happened at Miami, and look, he does deserve some of the blame. It's his first time being head coach, first time at the wheel. But this is Manny Diaz 2.0, so you would imagine he'll be better, and obviously he has been. So that one is in the red category. I think Virginia is going down. That is my probably my pick of my upset of the week in terms of a ranked team going down. Not that Duke's going to get upset because they are the favorite. It's just Virginia being a ranked team. And a lot of folks will see that number next year in name and say, yeah, Virginia should win this game. Vegas says otherwise, and I agree with Vegas. And then lastly here, on the upset alerts, a bit shorter list, but we could have put more teams on here. We're not going to. I say that and we will regret doing so. Who knows, maybe we'll add some more to the list, maybe. But the last one here, UF at Ole Miss. UF, of course, lost to Kentucky last week. They were kind of in checkout mode. I believe the line on this game, if I have to check, is Ole Miss minus 14.5. Of course, the whole Lane Kiffin thing. And will he, won't he leave? Ironically, of course, Florida, the job is open, and he's been attached to that job. He's playing his potential future employer. I think for Ole Miss, and I think for Lane, and I agree with Josh Payne, I don't think he's made up his mind yet. I really don't. I think there's a lot of things he's weighing. There's a lot of considerations to be made, legacy, family. Does he want to move his family to Gainesville while other folks in his party want him to stay? Does he want to deal with the insanity of UF coaching there? Does he really want to, leave something he's building at Oxford to where he can, he's basically the whole, he's literally given the keys of the kingdom there, the keys to the city. But I also believe in Lane's personality and his ability to understand, sort of like Saban did back in his prime, to where when Saban lost games, right, he very rarely lost to teams multiple times, right? When you usually had Saban in the revenge game, right? When, let's just say, for example, when Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel beat him in 2012. The year after, they went on the road. Yes, it was a very competitive game, but Bama won. Then go to the next year, he had the kick six and Iron Bowl. Bama turned around the next year, beat Auburn. So I think Lane, after listening and learning from Nick Saban, when he was on the staff there, I think Lane, sort of like Nick Saban, he very rarely, I'll have to go look this up. I didn't do it before the show, but I'm pretty sure he has done pretty well in these total revenge games, right? LSU, for example, this past month or so, a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, beat them. That was a revenge game because LSU beat them last year. This is one of the spots for Lane to get revenge. Florida, to me, again, they seem checked out. Last week against Kentucky was very evident that team they're checked out, they're done, and they're barbecue chicken, obviously, for a bowl game. I think Lane also sort of like these coaches like Jim Harbaugh, for example, during the Rose Bowl, where he, at least in my opinion, he kind of was showing off for future prospective fan bases. I think Lane's going to do the same thing with Ole Miss. I think he is going to show off. They're going to score a lot of points. I think he will take any opportunity to embarrass UF and to move on and go to the playoffs. So I think this one, I know I have it in the yellow category, but this could very easily be in the green. Only reasons in the yellow category is, again, like I said about Indiana, Ole Miss is not used to being in this position in the month of November. They were last year, but they didn't handle it well. and they didn't handle a couple years ago too, when Lane was being attached to the Auburn job and wasn't going to take it until his family told him, let's stay home and let's not move. Is Lane going to handle it differently this time? Is he actually going to be a man of his word and be laser focused, and he's going to worry about UF and wherever his future is down the road? I think he is. I think he's focused there at Ole Miss, and I think he is going to make an example out of UF, and he's going to do everything he can to get that revenge. Because I know for sure, I'm not friends with him. I don't have his phone number and whatnot, but I can guarantee you this. He remembers. That team remembers. His staff remembers. The fan base remembers. The administration remembers what happened last time when they played UF. I think they will take this as a revenge opportunity. I think you will see Ole Miss go nuclear on UF. So you know what? Making the executive decision. I run this show. No one else does. It's in the green category. I'm not too concerned about it. Are we watching it? Yes, but I'm not concerned. I say that, okay, and I say all that, and then UF goes off and pulls off the upset, and then the whole Oxford is burning, okay? So, as you can see here on YouTube, I'm fanning myself. Again, I don't feel good about this, changing that from a yellow to a green, but it has to be done, okay? In the words of Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself. And that's it for upset alerts. So how about that? Week 12 upset alerts. Going to check my audio here on YouTube, make sure you guys can hear me. Then we're going to get some water. We're going to be here on YouTube. Then we will press on. Here we are live. Okay, you guys can hear me. So I'm going to get some water real quick. We are going to continue on with the show. Got a couple more topics. We'll get to Bills, Buccaneers, and I'm going to water real quick. So I'm going to meet here on YouTube and on Spotify. I guess just your feed's not going out. Just getting some water. So we're going to do that. Okay, we're back. A couple of newsy notes here. We'll get to Bucs Bills. College football playoff. Yes, the rankings are out. No, we're not really talking about them because I do agree with Bud Elliott and his philosophy that the rankings at this point, especially that stupid show that ESPN does, it's not worth watching it. I mean, I literally can't watch it because we don't have YouTube TV right now in the outage. But even if everything was still normal, I'm not watching that crap. I'm not wasting my time. I could be doing other things than watching a show that even Kirk Herbstreit basically said, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore, because I think he even knew it was kind of stupid. But they do it anyway because, people, the casuals will want to watch, even though I think most of the invested folks, like me and others in the industry, can agree that the rankings show in general is kind of dumb, and we can look it up on our social media platforms. But I regress. But not talking about the rankings, but the CFB chair, Mac Rhodes, the AD, or was currently the AD at Baylor University, is stepping down. He is leaving. There's some controversy going on. I know there was some stuff about him and Michael Trigg, the tight end, back I think several months ago on a on-field altercation. That was reported by a couple of folks. This is not that, at least what it looks like. It seems like a new thing that's coming up, not related to the school or anything like that, or not related to athletics or Title IX. It just appears to be something that's been bubbling underneath the surface, and now I guess we'll see what happens with that. But he's out as the playoff chair leader, whatever you want to call him. So it looks like the AD of Utah, Mark Harlan, excuse me, no relation to Kevin Harlan, the NFL CBS announcer, is stepping in and role as an replacement, looks like, according to folks like Heather Dinnish and other industry insiders. So the question is of this, with this whole change here, and frankly, I don't know if that's even the bigger talking point. Will this change anything with the committee? Will this really change anything? I have it on good authority here. The words on this piece of paper here are N-O, no. Nothing's going to change. This is not a big deal, in my opinion. I think all it is just the current chair is going out. The committee, it's not like they're getting rid of the committee. Why not? Yes, it's probably a bigger story for Baylor if you follow Baylor athletics or the university in general. More or less, it's more important for those who follow university politics, what's going to happen with him. But it is interesting, too, in that they have the coach and Dave Randaz on the hot seat. Does that change him? Honestly, that might be the bigger story here. Does it change anything for Dave Aranda and his standing there? Because remember, most times you see the AD go, usually the new AD comes in and they will usually want to make some changes on their own. So, interesting thing there. Again, I don't think it's that relevant to the committee. No, I don't think it's going to change anything. But in terms of the Baylor local stuff, like with Dave Aranda's job security and whatnot, yeah, it's probably going to etch things up a little bit there in terms of turning on the heat on him a little bit. But that was news that was made earlier today, and it kind of threw people off. But to me, it's like, whatever. You can put anyone else in that committee chair. It's not going to change anything. Though I will say, if you're going to continue to have the committee, right? If you're going to continue to have folks run this thing, all I have to say is you need to bring other voices in there. Like, I know Josh Pate's vocal about it, the future commissioner. Hey, if you want to, a vice commissioner, hey, I'll be up for it too. But what if like someone like him to be on the committee? I think someone like Josh who actually watches the games, cares about college football. I mean, JP, if you're listening to this, hopefully you agree with me. But at the very least, if you can't be college football commissioner, be the head of the committee. Like, actually have a voice who watches the games, as not some university political figure or whatnot that really even knows who South Florida's head coach is or who the mascot is of Eastern Carolina. I guarantee they don't know any of those things. I do, because I'm a college football fan. I know that shouldn't be a requirement, but fortunately, there's a lot of folks in that room, a lot of folks who are involved behind the scenes there who can really give 2 cents, literally, on the way the sport runs and how to properly do a playoff, how to formulate a playoff, right? So there's that. Other news here, and then we'll wrap up the show with the Bucs. Brian Kelly, LSU, a bit of a weird situation here. Bit of a sticky situation. So it came out on Tuesday on Veterans Day of all days that Brian Kelly and LSU looks like they're going to court. Looks like there's a couple of buyout things, and Brian Kelly's saying LSU stole him this, and they're saying he did that. What that really boils down to, look, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school. Got a degree in communication, PR. So the basic way I can look at this LSU thing is they basically fire Brian Kelly, but there's no plan, right? Basically just said, all right, let's do regime change. What's the plan going forward? We don't know. I mean, you have the governor involved now. You have this and that and the other. I know it's old news, but still, I'm going to repeat what other folks have said. This and the governor getting involved a couple weeks ago is making this LSU job less attainable for any candidate, whether you're Lane Kiffin, John Summerall, me, I don't know, like, God forbid, Nick Saban. Like, no one's going to want this job with this instability going on. And heck, even last week, the current, who was supposedly the current AD, folks, I think it was this time last week, we were like, wait a second, he's not even listed as the AD. So who's the AD? Is it this guy or is it someone else that's coming in? Like, what's the heck's going on? The bottom on this for LSU is that they are way behind the 8 ball in terms of organization and buy-in. They are not there right now. It is a total mess right now. And unfortunately for them, Florida's open, Auburn's open, Penn State's open, other jobs will be open soon, more likely. They're way behind, especially in the SEC and some big boys in terms of alignment. And what's really crazy, too, it's like Auburn, you're one of your rivals that you used to play every single year. They have better alignment than you. They have way better alignment than you do. And Auburn used to be what you are right now. Auburn used to be this, storm of chaos. And look, I'm not saying there won't be any chaos in this coaching search for Auburn, or might, but at the moment, everything seems fine. But for LSU, it's like what you are right now is what Auburn used to be. Like, Auburn used to be the school of, the coaching chaos stuff. And the same with Tennessee, right? You had the whole, like, the AD back when they fired Butch Jones, and he gets fired because the administration there thought he was taking too long and doing weird stuff like talking to Mike Leach and whatnot. You had the whole Greg Schiano situation. So it's like, you have become Tennessee and Auburn. You have become this, like, manifestation of total chaos. And look, hey, we're going to thrive off of it. Us podcasters and us who talk about this in the media. But LSU must understand, as they pop the paper here, that they only have a short amount of time before things go off the rails, before Auburn makes a hire, before Florida makes a hire, before Penn State makes a hire, before Virginia Tech makes a hire. And I'm telling you this, there's a lot of candidates who wanted this LSU job, and Josh Pate's echoed this too. There's a lot of folks who wanted this LSU job who aren't even mentioned in the coaching search. I know it's not Dan Lanning. He's not leaving Oregon. Like, there's a reason why we don't talk about that on this show. or other shows won't talk about either. But I can guarantee you that those other candidates, those mystery candidates who may have been secretly wanting this job, they don't want it now. In this climate, like they're not. Like, do you think any of these candidates, even the ones that are notably out there, right? Let's just take Alex Galesh, for example, of South Florida. Do I seriously believe that Alex Galesh is looking at LSU and saying, yeah, I want to go there with the governor getting involved and apparently you're being sued by your former coach? No. I guarantee you, no one in their right minds is going to go to LSU right now or go to any school, frankly, whether it's Auburn, Tennessee in the past. Why would any candidate, a prime candidate, would want to go there and leave a situation that's good for them and go to one that's actually worse? Despite what you think of the job itself, the job by itself, the LSU job is the best job in the market. But if it doesn't have alignment and certain things aren't working, and certain things are total chaos, it doesn't matter. Okay, like this piece of paper here, this piece of paper is better than LSU right now, and it's just a piece of paper, right? So I mean, look, I know a lot of folks are making fun of LSU, and look, they could get this thing back on track very easily. Okay, all you need to do is just get alignment, get this whole stupid lawsuit out of the way. Maybe things will calm down. But gee whiz, man, like this even makes the whole Auburn like Brian Harsin thing like seem like a normal thing, because they didn't go to court over that. Okay, nor did the whole Tennessee. Well, I mean, the Tennessee thing is a little different because it was just a coaching search. This is more of a legal thing. But one other thing too, I think LSU should be careful here, at least in my general sense of how courts work, is there's a period called discovery, which what it means, you just discover things. And I guarantee you LSU does not want to get into that, because I guarantee you anyone, whomever is the in any situation who is trying to take down an organization, once you get into discovery, man, there's a lot of things you can discover, a lot of bones in the closets, a lot of things I'm sure LSU as a organization does not want out there in public. So that goes for anyone, whether it's Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M, TCU, SMU, is naming off schools now. But yeah, the whole Brian Kelly lawsuit thing, look, it's stupid. It shouldn't have to be like this. It shouldn't have to. Okay, you could very easily have solved this pretty easily, but I guess their logic is we'll just do it the wrong way instead of the way it should be. This next segment brings me no joy. It does not. I think we can probably already tell. It's Bucs Bills prediction. I've been dreading this all week. Told the staff, which was, the staff, just me. But, telling myself, wasn't feeling good about this game. Wasn't feeling good about it. And because of that, we are going to take another break here, get some more water, and we will continue on with the segment that I am most dreading. Probably the first time this season that I've actually dreaded doing a Bucs segment. So we're going to meet here on YouTube, get some more water. We'll prepare ourselves emotionally for what's going to be a very tough game. Actually, before we do that, as we are kind of ending the ending, you're nearing the ending of the show, please subscribe to the channel if you're watching this live on the replay. We are live today, by the way. As another reminder, I know we weren't on Tuesday because of scheduling stuff, but just subscribe to the channel. Not that hard, okay? Like, just hit the subscribe button. I don't know where it is, like down here, I guess, like over here somewhere. Just do it. Nothing happens. Just, I don't know, makes a weird animation or something like that. Like the streams, like the videos too. Comment as well. By the way, I guess before we really, because I really want to do this, we typically do our recap shows on Saturday nights for college football. We can't this weekend. Frankly, we won't be able to, which is okay. We've had the situation before, so I think what we're going to have to do is that we may have to just combine shows on Tuesday. So we may just end up having a mega huge show of reaction and predictions. Not something we typically do, but may have to. Or we could do a special thing on Monday night, potentially. So who knows? There's a lot of options here, but yeah, we won't be able to do our typical Saturday reaction show to the games. That just won't happen this weekend, unfortunately. But things happen sometimes, and we can adjust on the way. But yeah, that's not what will be happening. But next week should be a normal week. But the week after Thanksgiving, may have to do one show, which will have to be the combining both probably or something like that, I'd imagine. But brings me no joy. I have to be honest with you guys. Now we're moving on to the Bucs Bills thing. Gotta be honest with you guys. Like I just said a few little minutes ago on YouTube and on Spotify here as we're live, I'm dreading this segment, man. I'm really dreading this segment. When people say they have to be honest with you, it's usually not a good thing. I have to be honest with you. I do not feel good about this Bucs game this weekend with the Bills. The Bucs are facing the Bills. It's a 1 o'clock game, early game on Fox. Iron Eagle, J.J. Watt, first time getting those two, and a couple will at least getting this combination. We haven't had Tampa hasn't had Iron Eagle yet this year. But first time we're getting the new squad, if you will, with Iron Eagle and J.J. Watt, with Charles Davis transitioning to college football. So it's a whole new crew. 1 o'clock on CBS. It's on the road at Highmark Stadium there. Last time that Tampa will ever have to face the Bills in that building because of the new stadium. But it brings me no joy. Paper pop here. It brings me no joy to read you that Tampa this year, they have really struggled in a lot of their big games against teams that actually have a pulse defensively. They have given up and losses or in wins against the teams that are the real players here in the league, both in the AFC and NFC. 31 to the Eagles, 38 or 35 to the Seahawks in a win, 24 to the Lions, and then 28 to the Patriots. Both of those two, the last ones I mentioned, Lions and Patriots, are losses. Both games in which were all these games I just mentioned were games that you were playing teams that have a pulse. Well, you only won one of them. And don't give me the 49ers, that's a dead team. It also gives me no joy that the offense has, at least in the last couple of outings or so, have scored 9, 23, and 23. And before that, they were scoring, they had those 2 weeks where they were scoring like 30-ish points per game. So they have regressed on offense a little bit. Yes, they are playing, yes, I get it, it's the NFL. This isn't college, right, where you're playing teams you should be more superior to, but it's just been depressing for Tampa, really, the last couple of weeks, especially on the offense, where it's not been clean. It's not been clean. And last week, against the Patriots, I felt so confident in Tampa winning this game. I thought they would win this game. They were going to win the Patriots game. I thought they were going to cover. I thought them being off the bye was going to help out. I thought them being rested whilst the Patriots were on their 9th straight game. I was wrong. Even with the good start, they ended up losing that game. And Tampa, too, in the last couple of weeks, they've given up a lot of nuclear-type plays. They've given up so many big plays of 30 yards plus on defense. Everyone's criticizing Todd Bowles. Everyone wants him fired now. Everyone's fed up with this. And under playing Buffalo, a team who also is coming off a loss to the Fighting Tuas. Buffalo losing to the Dolphins. First time they brought them up this year. Let alone Tampa's playing them later in the year. Josh Allen in them in terms of rebounding after a loss this year. This season by itself, as I pull up the schedule here. Which is, actually a very limited sample size, but it is good enough, though. On the bright side for Tampa, when the Bills, that come off a loss, they have not won the week after. New England beat them a couple weeks ago, or last month. Beat them at home on Sunday Night Football. Then they turn around a shortened week and they face the Falcons, and they get blown out 24-14. So then they won 2 in a row. They blew out the Panthers. They took care of Kansas City. Then they lose to the Dolphins in a blowout fashion. Does it happen again for the Bills? Does it happen again? Tampa is facing one of the best offenses in the NFL. The lowest point total they've scored this year happens to be 2 of their 3 losses. 2 teams that are much worse than Tampa in terms of overall record and prestige, if you will. So if you're Tampa, at least on that side of things, that bodes well for you. But besides that, when they're at home, for the Bills, they have scored, I believe, an average of 30 points per game. So they have scored a lot of points at home. They are going to score. They are going to get their points. I think the most points that they have, or the least amount they have scored this year at home, is 20 in a loss. I think Tampa on average has been giving up right around 25, 30 points per game. So does not bode well for Tampa in terms of that department. Josh Allen, MVP of last year, he's having a very good year. Yes, is he due for one of these, weird games where he turns the ball over a lot? Yes. Does it happen consecutively? This year it did, but very rarely in his career does it happen back-to-back games. They're also at home. Again, Tampa has not won there, at least since I've been a fan. To my knowledge, they have not won there, at least in my time being a fan. They have not. The last time they were there, classic Thursday night game, in Baker's first year, but this is different. This is Tampa and Todd Bowles coming off of a loss that they have not done a good job of responding from. They have not historically. Now this year they have. They have gone up. They have gone up from the deck. They responded. Philadelphia game, they came back and won the next week. Detroit came back and won into New Orleans in somewhat dominating fashion, even though the offense was sputtering most of the afternoon. But this is not those teams. At least New Orleans is not Bills, or nor are they the Seahawks. So, because of all of that, the fact that Tampa is regressing a little bit, Baker and the offense, they're having to do a whole lot. Now, what is on the bright side for Tampa is that they're getting guys back healthy. It looks like Bucky Irving is going to be starting running back again, even though Rashard White's been fine. They still can't really run the ball against these good teams. So even with last week against the Patriots, I believe their leading rusher for Tampa, as I look on here, was Sean Tucker at 53 yards. So they were under 100 yards. They had a under 100 yard rusher yet again. So I say all that to say this. Again, I really am nervous about this game. I've been nervous about it the entire year. I thought this was, Bryce, sure, by far the toughest game Tampa had on their schedule. And it's not even a divisional game. It's not even a conference game. It's not even an NFC game. But in terms of building your resume, it would be nice to win one of these. It would be nice. But I can guarantee that. I cannot guarantee that. And let alone, I won't be watching this game. Frankly, I won't be watching it because I'll be at the Jags-Chargers game. That's how bad it is. That's the only thing that's bad when you're being so sadistic about your team and how they're losing. I'm not going to watch the game. I'm going to go watch another team play in the state of Florida. I'm not leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not switching teams, but I made the executive decision to not watch this weekend because that's how bad I think it will be. And I think Tampa's going to lose. I think they're going to lose really bad. I'm smiling here because I don't know what else to say. They're going to lose really bad. I have it on my notes here, my piece of paper here, that the Bills are going to win. They're favored by 5.5, according to FanDuel. I don't know what to say, man. This is as bad as it can get for Tampa in terms of them walking into a hornet's nest. The final year of the Highmark Stadium there in Orchard Park. They have not done well there consistently. I think it's also going to be kind of chilly up there, unlike down here in Florida. Don't like it when Florida teams, either in college or in the NFL, go up to any of these cold weather environments and try to win a high stakes game. I just don't like it. So again, the FanDuel line, they're not a sponsor of the show. I don't know if they want to right now, as how depressing this sounds. I think Bills are going to win. I think they're gonna cover the 5.5. I resent that. No, I'm not picking the Bills to win this game. I cannot do it. I cannot let myself go down that road. I'm no nihilist. This is not Losersville. Double paper pop. I am picking the Buccaneers to win. I think they're going to win all right. They're going to do it. We're all winners here. We're all going to do it. See you guys Tuesday. Again, no show on Saturday night, the reaction show, but no. We are picking the Bucs to win. All right, somehow, some way, I think we're going to get it done. See you guys Tuesday. Enjoy the weekends of games, both in the pro and the college level. I'm pumped up. Let's go. Woohoo!